What's up everybody, Steven Z Killer here. It's time to bring you a new reaction video. But before that, 75% of you guys watching right now are not subscribed. This means two things. You're either brand new to the channel or returning. And I do hope that this video gets you to hit that subscribe button today. Last year, we didn't hit our goal of 400,000 subscribers by the end of 2024. We almost got there, and we were so close to 100,000 new subscribers in that year. But I still need more people to join and subscribe to get my channel to hit 1 million subscribers. This upcoming year, the new goal is 500,000 subscribers. And I need you to hit that subscribe button today so we can hit it this year. I know we can do it. What's up everybody, Steven Z Killer here with another reaction to some more game theory. Now this is going to be an interesting one. Why is there a game theory on Mario Kart going bankrupt? I have no idea. But I will say, when it comes to Mario Kart, I have heard a few things. That, sadly, the open world, even though it was a cool idea, it even got me excited for it. If you didn't see my reaction to the announcement and the gameplay stuff during the Nintendo Direct, I was really hyped for that. Apparently, it's actually very dull. There's not a lot to actually do. There's some stuff to do, yes, but it's not as good as people are hoping, apparently. I haven't played it. I never got the Nintendo Switch 2. I never get consoles on day one release because, you know, consoles in the past, Red Ring of Death and etc. There's always a plethora of reasons why people have issues with day one consoles. And I don't want that. I don't want to have to, send my item in to get replaced by the company or outright buy a new console again or something like that. So I usually wait. And right now I'm still kind of just waiting. And I will not buy the console for scalping prices, but I'll start looking for the Nintendo Switch 2 in the future. But it's not as hype as a lot of people said. Now, Knockout is a welcome addition. Out of everything that Mario Kart World is, Knockout is probably the best thing they added to the game. But pretty much that is it. Not crazy, like vastly different when it comes to, as people were hoping, when it comes to Mario Kart. But it's still Mario Kart at the end of the day. I've heard some mixed things. People are still enjoying it, but people are a little bit underwhelmed by the content on the Nintendo Switch because Mario Kart is literally the only new game on the Nintendo Switch when it comes to releases. Yes, there's games that have been out for a while you can rebuy and or buy for the first time, but on basically the Nintendo Switch 2 if you never bought on the Xbox One or Xbox Mini Fridge or PS5, etc., or PC. But good example is people are pointing out, Cyberpunk is playing graphically like it's on the PS4, and they're charging $10 more for less quality. Yeah. So, yeah, that's what I've been hearing. Anyways, your experience might be different. Let's check out why they're making a game theory on Mario Kart going bankrupt, and let's see what this is all about.
World is about to go bankrupt. No, not the game, although if they keep trying to sell it for a ridiculous $80, then maybe. I'm talking about the world of Mario Kart World, because as it turns out, this little go-karting extravaganza is creating a massive bubble for the Mushroom Kingdom and one.
Oh, they're talking about the actual world within Mario Kart World. Okay. All right. I was confused by the title too. All right.
Small pop will send the whole world economy into freefall. Hello, Internet! Welcome to Game Theory, the show that's ready to fire up its engines because after waiting for more than 11 years, we finally have ourselves a new Mario Kart game. And from the very moment I saw the first trailer for Mario Kart World, I knew I had to do an episode on it. But in true Game Theory fashion, while everyone else has been clamoring over the open world, the diverse courses, and the ever-important inclusion of cow, there was something else that really got my motor running. The economy.
I will say one game in particular that just popped in my head. If for some reason we get another one, that would definitely drive up the sales of the Switch. I think even more than Mario Kart. And I doubt we're getting it. New Super Smash Bros. That just popped in my head. As it is, why didn't they just instantly give us the ability to play Smash Bros. At a higher frame rate on the Nintendo Switch 2? Why wasn't that on a day one thing? That would hype a lot of people up.
Surprise, surprise, the high school nerd is more interested in math than motorsports. But it's kinda hard to ignore. I mean, have you looked around the courses? Plastered on barricades, billboards, and banners of every single corner of this karting-themed world are advertisements. Fortunately, we haven't quite reached Call of Duty levels with real companies advertising in-game. Instead, these are in-universe companies. Things like Grohl Metal, Cooper Construction, and Dolphin Marine Sports. Obviously, many of these companies are named after Mario characters, both the iconic and the not so iconic. Heck, even Batterton has his own aero parts company. You remember Batterton, right? The Moai looking enemy from Super Mario Land? Who could forget? But clearly, when the Mario characters are not bumping carts and hosting parties, they're being successful entrepreneurs. But Mario Kart is a competition after all. So it got me thinking, who is the best of these business people? What if we took the businesses being advertised in Mario Kart World and compared them? Who is actually bringing in the most coin? A simple question, I thought. A way to whip up some spreadsheets and do some calculations about one of my favorite Nintendo franchises. What could possibly go wrong? Well, tens of hours and over 100 companies later, I did end up getting my answer, but in doing so, I found something else that I didn't expect. The world of Mario Kart World is about to experience an economic calamity, and not the Ganon kind. Although Link is in this series now, and so I suppose they could add him too. Trust me, theorists, this is going to be a wild ride. So fasten those seatbelts and put the pedal to the metal, because the economics of Mario Kart World start in 3, 2, 1, go.
Appreciate you subscribing.
But quick announcement before we get started. On Wednesday, June 18th at 7 p.m. EST, you can join me right here on Game Theory as we theory craft about Secret of the Mimic.
Speaking of Secret of the Mimic, yeah. Honestly, I'm looking forward to their Secret of the Mimic breakdown videos, game theory videos and whatnot. And I should be streaming that later today on my channel, if you guys want to check it out. And if you didn't see my first initial stream from the other day on Friday, I streamed for almost 7 hours. That stream is available, but is also being uploaded to my second channel. If you guys want to watch it as videos or as a full stream where you can see the chat, your options are there. Episode 1 is already out, which is about almost 2 hours, and or the full stream that's almost 7 hours if you guys want to watch everything. And trust me, I trimmed out certain segments, a lot of moments where I died, and or there was even a puzzle that kind of was making me rage a little bit because I was stubborn and I thought it was one way and I was completely mislooking the other way. I spent too long on that fucking puzzle and I was being stupid. But I trimmed that down. Anyways.
Live. I'll have just finished my playthrough with Ash over on GT Live, which will be linked in the description. And so it'll be time to lock in and, with your help, figure out what our future theories are going to be. Remember, that's Wednesday, June 18th at 7 p.m. EST. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. But now, back to the video.
I started by gathering a list of every single company that advertises itself somewhere in the wide world of Mario Kart World. That meant playing a lot of Mario Kart and losing a lot of Mario Kart because, go figure, the other racers didn't want to stop and wait for the guy staring at signs. But I noted down every one I could see, and it turns out there's a lot more than I bargained for.
Wait,
But I noted
Why race when you can just drive around in the open world?
down every one I could see, and it turns out there's a lot more than I bargained for. This game has 130 companies advertised throughout the various tracks. Some of them are pretty generic, like fried chicken, too much flavor, which is the most Santy sounding business I have ever heard. Or they're branded around Mario items. And while companies like Banana Natural Oil are no doubt important to the economy in this universe, it's not gonna help us figure out which character is winning the battle of the businesses. Donkey Kong may have a lot of them, but it doesn't have a monopoly on bananas. Although, even excluding those, we still end up having a list that's 118 companies long. But this is where we really begin to start heading down the Monty Mole hole. We may have all the names of the businesses owned by our colorful cast of characters, but we still have no idea how much they actually make. And since Shigeru Miyamoto did not respond to my request for the Q4 earnings reports for all of these companies, I guess I'm gonna have to get creative here. You see, these may be fictional businesses, but the products they're promoting do reflect products and services that we see in the real world.
So you're gonna convert our products and services price
in the real
with
world and use that
their
company's
currency, I
financials
see.
in place of the Mario version. Specifically, let's take a look at the company's annual revenue, the amount they make before taxes and expenses. Also, unless it's clear that this fictional company is really small, it's probably best that we assume the equivalent companies are the largest in the world. Yoshi's Hamburgers being equivalent to something like McDonald's with a bunch of global locations. You know, because this is Mario Kart World, after all. You not only have to be big enough to advertise, but also have a global audience. No point advertising your local pizza joint to a bunch of people in a foreign land. Plus, if multiple companies all occupy the same industry, like the not one, not two, but 3 different courier companies that exist in the Mario Kart world, rather than arbitrarily trying to assign each one to a specific company as if one is better than the other, which is data we just don't have, we can just average a couple of the real-world industry leaders and assign the same value to all of the Mario corporations. So, with all the rules out of the way, let's finally find out which of our favorite characters is the true wolf of Waluigi Street. That was a bad one. And who better
That was a really bad one.
to start us off than Mr. Jumpman himself, Mario. It is his name on the box, or the virtual game card. Anyway, I thought that would make figuring out his financial status the easiest, but Mario actually has some pretty diverse business dealings. Just look at this ad here.
The Kill Switch case for Switch 2 by D-Brand. Everything the Switch 2 can do, the Kill Switch can too. Detachable Joy-Cons. Perfect friction fit. Ooh, a strong travel.
Did they really get a fucking sponsorship for a goddamn protective case for the Switch 2?
Cover over 100 pounds of crush-proof protection. Screen protector
I don't feel comfortable with this ad.
application protection.
What the fuck?
Ergonomic
What the?
grip. Ergonomic. The Kill Switch case for Switch 2.
What the fuck?
Available now. Save up to $35 by going to dbrand.com/game theorists. Link in the description.
You know, people are gonna meme the fuck out of this, I feel like.
Well, that was weird. Anyway, where
You know what you did there. People are going to meme the fuck out of that.
was I? Oh, right, Mario. If we take a look at the ads around the track, we can see 5 companies that bear the iconic plumber's name. The first, longtime fans of Mario Kart should recognize, and that's Mario Kart TV, the media company that's responsible for filming and broadcasting all of the karting shenanigans. The closest IRL equivalent to that would be something like ESPN, the US-based sports channel that airs Formula 1, and they have an annual revenue of approximately $16 billion. As you can see, we're not dealing in the minor leagues here. These guys are playing with some serious cash. But that's just Mario's first business. He also has not 1, but 2 racetracks under his plumber belt. Mario Circuit and Mario Bros Circuit. And before you say, a racetrack, that's not a business, tell that to Silverstone, the racetrack that hosts Formula One's British Grand Prix, which brings in an annual revenue of over $129 million. And speaking of the Mario Bros, there is an official Mario Bros company in-game as well. It's not particularly clear what exactly this business does, but considering that the logo looks just like the original video game, back when our boys were just humble plumbers clearing out pipes,
Oh, wow.
I think it's safe to assume that just like in the Mario
I've not seen that art before. That is some really old art of Mario and Luigi.
movie, this is their plumbing business. But given that they're so busy these these days saving princesses, going go-karting, and hosting parties that are totally not rigged, they'll likely have had to grow the business so that they can continue serving the international market that desperately wants to have their pipes cleaned by the famous brothers. Stop it. Now, the biggest plumbing business in the world is a company called Roto-Rooter, and their 2024 reports tell us that they have an annual income of $700 million. Of course, Mario is probably going to have to split the Mario Bros circuit and business with Luigi, but right off the bat, Mario's portfolio is already looking strong with 16.5 billion in annual revenue. But Mario Jumpman Mario has one more trick up his scarlet sleeves. Mario Motors. Because there are 4 other motoring businesses in the Mario Kart world, we can just take the top 5 motoring companies in the world, Volkswagen, Toyota, General Motors, Ford, and Mercedes, and average their annual revenue out to a whopping $236,580 million, bringing Mario's grand
God damn.
total to just over 253 billion. Ha! Take that, bro, in your pitiful little 500 mil mansion. But maybe Luigi has taken that nice starting amount of cash and gold bars and invested it back into the market? No, not really. Other than the 2 companies he shares with his brother, Luigi only has one other company that we know of, Luigi Tires. And while the likely comparison here is Michelin with an annual revenue of 28.29 billion, his grand total is still painfully small compared to his brother. Needless to say, Mario may be a jerk, but Luigi isn't helping himself on the brains front. The rest of the Mario cast vary wildly in their numbers. Daisy, with her air freshener business and shared patisserie with Peach, only sits at 1.5 billion. Yoshi hits 26 billion with Yoshi's Hamburgers, and Toad stands at a cool $65 billion. Of course, much like in the real world, not all of these businesses are on the up and up. Case in point, the meme lord that is Waluigi. While Waluigi's vintage clothing business appears legitimate and snazzy, if I do say so myself, his other business is
I don't know if I would trust those clothes.
less so. Waluigi Tires appears to just be
They're gonna be knockoffs and stuff.
taking Luigi Tires and slapping a big old wah on the front of the name. Hilarious, but definitely illegal. Sorry, Wah, I love your memes, but I love math more and I can't accept thievery. DK also falls a little short, only making 13 billion a year with his various tracks and rocket booster businesses. I guess being a spacefaring multi-billion
What happened to the fucking the banana oil?
doesn't do much for you in the Mario world. Although
I guess it doesn't really say DK on it, but you assume, I guess, if it's banana related.
probably for the best. On the flip side, Peach, Bowser, and Rosalina are also in the car business, and thanks to Peach's movie career, resorts, stadiums, patisserie, Bowser's castle track, and Rosalina's bus tours, they all just barely miss out on being part of the quarter trilly club behind our boy Mario. However, you may be shocked to learn that actually none of these characters are sitting atop the entrepreneurial podium. Yep, even Mario with his 253 billion doesn't even scratch.
I'm gonna call it now. It's gonna be fucking Toad, isn't it? Toad's gonna be at number 1 at the most. I'm gonna say that right now.
3rd place. So who does? Well, 2nd and 3rd actually came as a bit of a surprise because they aren't part of our more famous group. These 2 obscure characters only have one business each, but those companies, to use a car metaphor, are lapping the field. The number 3 overall business person and number 3 overall company is everyone's favorite money bag, literally Coin Coffer. Coin Coffer Bank is seemingly the only bank in the Mario Kart world,
wow.
and so it's only right to compare it to our own international financial giant, JP Morgan Chase, whose annual revenue is $278.9 billion a year, and the 2nd largest company in all of Mario Kart world, with an estimated revenue of $329 billion, belongs to the most memorable character in all of Mario, Hotfoot. Yeah, you guys know Hotfoot, right?
What the
flame guy
fuck?
that jumps from the candles in Mario Bros. 3. Well, I guess
Oh my god, you're right. They are just little flames with feet. Oh my fucking god.
he was able to take the royalties he made from that game to make Hotfoot Gasoline, the ExxonMobil of this, checks notes, karting world. If only he'd invested in one more business, then his single business wouldn't have lost to the man who stands tall at the top of the leaderboard.
It's gonna be fucking Toad. I'm calling it right fucking now.
10 feet tall, to be exact. It is, of course, Wario.
Oh. You know, I was about to say, wait, 10 feet. I'm wrong. It's not Toad. Wario, you know, he does have a lot of games that show that he's a rich motherfucker.
Because when you think of money in Mario, who else is gonna come to mind? Unlike
I don't know why Wario was such an obvious fucking choice. He is. Oh my fucking god.
Luigi, who's just sitting on all of his wealth, Wario is making money moves. Not only do his companies generate more revenue than most other characters, he's also diversified and has the most companies of anyone at 7. Wario, more like Warren Buffett. He's got his own car business, a completely separate engine company similar to something like Cummins or Yanmar, a courier service like DHL, UPS or FedEx, a scrap metal gig like Sims Metal, and 2 racetracks, one of which is a stadium that can double up as the host of the Twiller Swift Eras Tour. He even has a gaming company, Wario Games, and those little bouncing noses remind me of a certain spin-off series, WarioWare. Intelligent Systems is the company that makes those games for Nintendo, alongside Paper Mario and Fire Emblem, so their numbers are what we're going to use. It's not the most lucrative of the businesses, but hey, maybe he just loves Wafus. Anyway, when added up, Wario's business empire has an estimated annual revenue of, drumroll please, $356 billion. There is
Damn!
technically one single business that actually trumps even Wario by a country mile, Thiamart, which seems to be this world's version of Walmart, which would then give it an annual revenue of $650 billion just on its own. But the Fire Flower isn't a character, it's an item, and so it doesn't count. And therefore, Wario is our winner and the most entrepreneurial of our characters. Obviously, there are way more characters that dove headfirst into the sushi tank. 53 to be precise. But sadly, we'd be here all day if I just listed them out. And while I'm sure penguins are someone's favorite, penguin bobsledding is not a lucrative business venture, making at best $260K in revenue. However, while they may not match up to the likes of Wario on
Roasted those penguins.
their own, what about if you counted them all together? After all, it's not just the individuals that benefit from all this revenue. The countries and kingdoms they reside in get to make a pretty penny by charging them tax, meaning those 53 loose ends alongside our regular gang all add up at the end of the day, and the winner there would be a pretty incredible economic superpower, you know, providing these businesses actually pay their taxes. So let's take all the companies we've talked about today.
Well, technically, the government for the Mushroom Kingdom, all the taxes in that region would be going to technically Princess Peach and her castle and whatnot. And I guess depending on where they are and who's the leader of the land. So, yeah. Even Bowser, like, yeah, if he has a business inside the Mushroom Kingdom, he'd probably have to pay taxes for those businesses to Princess Peach. But also if Princess Peach has something near where his castle is, and vice versa. Yeah. Okay.
From Mario Motors to Magmar Diner, as well as a few of the others we disqualified earlier, to get a sense of which kingdom has the most
Taxes would be fucking annoying in Mario World, that's for sure.
entrepreneurial spirit. For example, I mentioned earlier that
To be fair, actually, taxes in real life is fucking stupid.
clear which character might own a company like Banana Natural Oil, but it is pretty clear that this company is likely headquartered in DK's homeland, the Jungle Kingdom. So it only seems fair that Banana Natural Oil and its estimated $8 billion in revenue should fall under the domain of the Jungle Kingdom as well. Once again, at the very bottom of our list is sadly Daisy's Sarasaland. Yeah, remember when Daisy had her own kingdom and wasn't just hanging out to play doubles with Peach? With Daisy and Batterton being the only Saracens with businesses that we know of, collectively, they only just managed to bring in $40 billion per year. Next up is the Jungle Kingdom, where cranky
40 billion is, compared to what we've been hearing, it is pretty low, but that's still a big fucking number.
bring in an estimated $68.5 billion. Number 3, and the first on
Damn.
our podium, is Rosalina. While it's never really clear if she has a kingdom to call her own, she's got a crown, so I think it counts. In total, her and the Lumas
She got a space kingdom out there in space somewhere. I don't know.
mostly on the back of Rosalina.
I believe she's from Mario Galaxy. Never played the game, but I know she's basically a space entity, possibly future child of Luigi or something like that. People are... Time travel's fuckery.
Automobiles bring in just over $237 billion per year. And that brings us to our top 2 kingdoms, which deep down, I'm sure we already expected would be here. Peach's Mushroom Kingdom and the infamous Bowser's Kingdom. But there's only one nation that can truly dominate the world of finance, and that nation is... Second drum roll, please!
Okay.
The Mushroom Kingdom. Alright, I know that may not feel like that big of a shock.
It's not.
But it is when you realize that the Mushroom Kingdom's nearly $2.1 trillion comes from just 13 entrepreneurs compared to Bowser's 33. Although it's
Holy fuck.
really the item branded shops like 1UPs, Mushrooms, and Superstars that do the heavy lifting. Without those, the Mushroom Kingdom was sitting at just 600 billion, just a third of Bowser's 1.8 trillion. Maybe that's the real reason Bowser keeps invading. It's not that he wants to marry Peach or that he's fed up of losing to Mario, he's fed up of losing the economic game. However, he might want to rethink that little strategy, because clearly he hasn't seen the writing on the wall. The shadow looming over all the companies of the Mario Kart world. You see, this whole theory started because of the sheer number of ads plastered around the world. And ads, they cost money. And these ads cost serious money. Formula One is one of the biggest motorsports in the world. Like Mario Kart World, F1 bounces around the globe, putting on races for a global audience. And along the track...
But even though it brings in a lot of money, it costs a ton to produce and do and schedule and get licenses and all that other fuckery. Probably that's what's going on in here.
On billboards and on the cars, you'll see ads just like we see in Mario Kart World. According to one estimate, those ads for billboards and barriers can cost companies $1 to $5
Oh, that is true too. I didn't even think about that, because I know for a fact, like a good example, a 30-second ad during the Super Bowl costs a business something like, not even fucking joking, something like maybe $1 to $10 to $15 million, somewhere around that, depending on how long the ad is, depends on how many millions you gotta shell out for your advertisement. So yeah, that makes sense.
million per race. And ads on the cars themselves, like the kind we see for Dory and her watercraft company, can cost between $1 and $70 million per year. And for that low end, all you're getting is a little decal that no one is ever gonna see at that speed. And sure, while the big companies...
That is a really big waste of fucking cash, actually thinking about that. Just for the decal on the car. I've never looked at the racing car and go, oh, M&M icon, that makes me want to go buy an M&M packet. No, it doesn't.
Companies like Mario Motors, Hotfoot Gasoline, and Coin.
I don't know why
Bank
I shot at
afford to
M&Ms,
dish
but
out
that's the
dough.
first thing that
How
popped
can
in my head.
Penguin Bobsled, Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker, or Foo's Handy Air Duster justify spending that kind of cash? Can one multi-million-dollar billboard or car ad really lead to an increase in sales for Spike Spokes? And on top of that, most of these companies are probably already operating on such tight margins as it is. For today's example, we focused on revenue, the amount of money a company brings in each year. But that doesn't include a company's expenses, taxes, payroll, rent, and yes, advertising. For example, take Firemart. As a supermarket, it's already operating on a profit margin of only 1 to 3% of its revenue. So for every $100 it makes in sales, it's only bringing home $1 to $3 in actual profit. And if you cut into that by purchasing a billboard alongside, oh, I don't know, the world's largest go-karting tournament, you're putting your company's financial future at risk. If you want a real-world example, look at what happened to Pets.com. Pets.com was an e-commerce business that used to deliver pet supplies back in the late 90s. They, like many of our Mario Kart businesses, wanted to get their name out there, and so they decided to spend big bucks on a bunch of high-profile marketing campaigns. They had a float in the 1999 Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, and they even bought airtime during Super Bowl 34 in 2000. The only problem, despite being seen by tens of millions of people, they were never able to turn that exposure into actual dollars. And Pets.com shut down just 9 months after releasing their Super Bowl ad. Do you see where I'm going with this? Much like Nintendo, every single one of these fictional companies has tied their biddy buggies to the success of Mario Kart World, and they need it to be a big hit. They've thrown their money into these expensive ads with no promise that they'll ever get any sort of return on that investment. If Mario Kart World
very fucking true, yeah.
world is not as successful as they'd hoped, or if they just simply can't convert the eyeballs into serious coin, the Mario Kart world will see wave after wave of businesses going under. And what's worse, this isn't even a new issue. You can actually see it if you look back at older Mario Kart games. They are filled with companies that used to advertise in Mario Kart, but who have since stopped, presumably because they didn't make it. This has been an issue in the Mario Kart world for years, and
But that's also like a real world thing too. Like that happens.
yet nothing has been done to stop it. And a lot of these businesses are now going to be faced with shuttering their doors because of it, which will cause a cascade of economic despair for ordinary citizens of that universe. Meanwhile, the big corporations like Bowser Motors, Wario Stadium, and Mario Kart TV, who have benefited from the success of this global karting phenomena, will be sitting pretty on top of the podium. But hey, that's just a theory. A game theory. Thanks for watching.
Getting into this, honestly, I wasn't sure exactly what to expect. When I saw the title, when I saw the video, I was like, ooh, with Mario Kart kind of being hot, with the Nintendo Switch still being talked about, this might not be a bad one to check out. I wasn't expecting what we got, but you know what? It was an interesting theory. I don't see this ever really impacting the world of Mario, like, realistically, because they're not gonna ever consider, like, Nintendo's not programming people to do this shit and go, how is this going to affect the economy of the Mushroom Kingdom, sir? Who fucking cares? It's a fucking video game. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this reaction. Stay tuned for my other reaction later today. It's something cool, creepy though. Something someone suggested me and it was interesting, and there might be more in the future. Also, look out for, of course, my my playthrough of Five Nights at Freddy's, not Security Breach, Secret of the Mimic. Later today, I should be streaming at some point on my channel here. I also started to stream a little bit over on the second channel. I might be live right now or after this actually goes out, but still, hope you guys see those streams. Go check out those videos. Check out the link for the second channel down below, and look out for more. And if you guys have other suggestions for reactions, animations, music, etc., let me know about it, and I'll try to check it out when I can. Post in the comments or post in the reaction idea section. I'll see you next time. Till then, later.